Hey, I'm Dean and this is Legacy Voyage. In Season 1, I'm documenting my journey to earning my first 100K net worth as a full-time college student. Join me as I share some of the lessons I learned along the way.
Okay, look, I get it. It has been an entire month between my last episode. I guess if you're listening to this in the future, then you won't really know the difference, but if you're listening to this in real time, it's been a whole month since my last episode. And I guess there's a couple reasons why I've been lacking on it. One of the biggest ones is just like I've been doing other things. Like I'll record the episode, but then I just won't edit it and post it. So finally got around to it. This first part of the episode, it's from, I want to say like 2, 3 weeks back. And then the second part is from yesterday. The first one is the black and white room story. And then the second part is the Popeyes chicken sandwich story. But either way, just recording the journey. And honestly, last night I was reminiscing about 2 years ago when it was this, around the same time, it was summer, July 25th, around that time. And it's just crazy to see how far I have come in that time. Like, dang, that's kind of wild. Anyways, yeah, keep listening for the full episode. Imagine for a second you were stuck in a black and white room. You grew up there your entire life, and so you've never seen color. But also imagine that you have become an expert in color. Like, you know everything that happens biologically or physiologically that happens in the eye, the way the light reflects off of whatever object you're looking at, and the way eyes process colors, everything there is to know about the way color works. And so in some ways, you could say that you know everything there is to know about color. But the only thing is, you've grown up in a black and white room your entire life. You've never actually seen color. So the question is, when you step out of that black and white room and you see a red apple for the very first time, did you learn anything new? Is that new knowledge, or did you already know about that thing because you are an expert in color? This was a thought experiment that I'm not sure who thought of this one, but I wrote about it in one of my papers. And the guy who came up with this thought experiment, he thought that yes, the example is Mary in this black and white room. And he says, yes, Mary would learn something new when she steps out of the black and white room and interacts with color for the very first time. And the way I think of this is it's the difference between deep knowledge and shallow knowledge. And I've definitely talked about this in past episodes, but the reason I bring this up now is because I had a similar experience the other day working at Leland. And at Leland, I've always known that startups move fast and break things. Like, that was a truth proposition that I took to be true. Like, that was just something that was. And it wasn't until the other day where I truly felt it and lived through the experience where I was like, dang, this is what that means. This is the deep knowledge and the experience that comes from the fact that startups can break things. But to set the scene, I've been building a whole bunch of automations. And so this specific automation, the way it was supposed to work is customers, they come, fill out a little form, and then after they fill out the form, they would get text message and an email sequence from one of our sales reps. So there were a couple things that I had to do, like assign them randomly to one of our 3 reps, send the message from that rep, and then also put them in the email sequence. But then we had to think about what about if people went through twice? What about if they went through 2 different forms? Because one form would be for product management, which is one type of form, and then the other one would be for like MBA, which is another type. So we still want to allow for that. As I was working on this automation, I had a whole bunch of other projects that I was working on. So like one of the higher ups, they're like, hey, can I put you into this other project? I was like, yeah, for sure, I'll work on that project. And then there's the other project in the back of my mind that I was like really wanting to get done, and there was literally tons of projects that I was working on. So I didn't really have high priority on this specific automation. I was like, yeah, this will be done when it gets done. Like, it's not that deep. And then as I'm working on this thing, I realized that, oh dang, this thing has to be done in an hour. So I'm over here scrambling to fix this thing, freaking out because I only get, 30 minutes really to start testing things. And I'm freaking out even more because a huge part of building these types of automations is testing and debugging and make sure everything works correctly. But it hits 5 p.m. and the event starts that we're going to direct everyone towards this form. But what I didn't realize was that there's 1,000 people coming through this form. So I start freaking out even more. It's like, oh my goodness, all these customers are going to come through and they're not going to have the right stuff. And so they're coming through. And of course, everything breaks. Like, the entire automation breaks down. There's too many people. So I start freaking out, bro. Then it hits 5 p.m. and I'm over here freaking out because I didn't have any time to test everything. And then I turn to my manager and he's like, well, hope this works. And he just laughs it off. I was like, dude, this thing is going to break. So I was crossing my fingers hoping that it wouldn't break. But of course, a couple minutes passed and I didn't realize that there were 1,000 people on this event. So they come through and they break everything. Like, the entire automation breaks. And I turn to my manager and he's still like having a smile on his face. Yup, like, this is what happens in startups. Everything breaks. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. So that was like, for some reason, a moment that sticks in my head so much because it was this lived experience of truly being like, we're moving so fast that we're breaking things. And all that really means is we're moving so fast that we're not really like quadruple checking every little thing that we do. So along the way, we're going to make some mistakes. Like, there are going to be some mess ups, but we'll figure it out. And so for some reason, that really stuck with me. A couple other things I've been thinking about. One big thing is with running. Because after I finished the marathon, and in some ways it was kind of like finishing high school, where it's like, okay, I did this thing, like I finished something. But then the next question is, now what? Like, what are we going to do now? Because I finished the Finite game, I've like achieved this goal, but then it's, okay, what are we going to do now? And I think the reason I realized this, especially the other day, was because as I was running, I was like, dang, I've gotten so much slower. I can barely run 3 miles. Before I was running friggin' 13 miles without like any hard breathing or nothing. Like, I could run 8 miles easy, but now I could barely run 3 miles. And it really got me thinking that the infinite game begins. Like, as soon as I finish the marathon, then that's when the infinite game starts. And the infinite game is way, way, way harder than the finite game. Like, it's easy to train for 3 months and have this day, and then after the day, just like chill. But what's much, much harder is setting this goal, hitting the goal in X amount of time, and then after that, continuing to improve. Not because there's some goal in mind of like, I want to run another marathon in this amount of time, but just because of the infinite game. Like, that's what the infinite game entails. It's not about winning running or winning marathons. It's just about running and enjoying the running and the person that I'm becoming through the running. And so lately I've just been trying to lock in a little more on the running part. And I think a big, big part of that has been working on my sleep. Because I'm going to be so for real. This entire week, I haven't ran at all. Except for Sunday, but that's because I didn't have any type of work. I also have not worked out at all. And a big reason for that, I think, has been really trying to improve my sleep. Because this week, my sleep wasn't terrible. What turned it all around was last night. I really locked in. I was like, I'm going to go to sleep early. And what could have been like a really bummy day yesterday turned out to be really awesome just because I had enough sleep. Because I slept early. Where I was usually sleeping at like 12 or 1. Dude, yesterday, I slept at friggin' 10. I was in bed by 9, bro. And it feels amazing right now. So the hope is to keep this momentum going, keep up my night routines, and keep getting amazing sleep. That's really the whole dream. A couple life updates on my end. As a reminder, these are the 4 things that matter most in my life: my God, myself, my people, and then my work. First off, my God. I've been getting back into reading the Bible, which is awesome. Hopefully I'll finish Genesis soon, because I restarted from the Old Testament. But the main thing here is that a big reason why I've been getting back into it is because I've been like getting my sleep better. And low key, I kind of took a step back and realized I'm not sure if it's causation or correlate. The fact that if putting God first makes everything else fall into place. Because low key, it might just be correlation where it's like, okay, mental health is doing great. Now I can refocus. Or even if mental health isn't doing great, but I at the very least have this motivation to make it better. And they're like, okay, to make it better, let's read the Bible or let's focus more on God. So it might be like a potentially correlated thing. But also I think even if it is correlated, it's still amazing correlation, right? Because it remains true. If I do just focus on that, then everything does seem to fall in place. But been feeling good about that. The other day I was catching up with a coworker. She's of course a member of the church. And we're catching up and she's telling me this and that and how she went on her mission and all these things about the church. And then she's telling me about why she believes and all this different evidence that proves the Book of Mormon or something like that. Honestly, all the evidence she pulled out, I was like, come on now, really? Like, be for real, bro. But there's this specific thing she says, and I think something I low-key envy of other members and Christians and people like that is how they could just be so confident in feeling the Spirit. Because I'm gonna be so for real, bro. That is probably my biggest weakness in terms of being a Christian. Because the way some people say, oh yeah, I'm spiritual but not religious, I'm probably the complete opposite. I'm religious but not spiritual. And the reason is because I'm so hesitant to be spiritual. Because I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to like believe I have this prompting from the Spirit, when in reality, it was just my head telling me things. And it was just myself. Which reminds me of something that my brother said during church. And it's something he told me ages ago when he was still on his mission. He was like, okay, Dean, the way you know the difference is if it's good, it comes from God. If it's evil, it's from the devil. I was like, okay, cool. Like, you can say that. And it might be true, actually. Like, it might be super true that that is the case. But the only issue in my head is it's not very helpful. Like, you can say that, but it just pushes the question back even further. It pushes the question back to what's good and what's evil. Because the Scientologists would say, oh yeah, their thing is great and it's definitely good. Or the radical Muslim would say, yes, doing this thing that on the outside, to me, for most of us would be like, that is actually crazy. They would say, this is a good thing. So I think it just pushes the question back. It's basically like saying, oh yeah, to get rich, all you have to do is make more than you spend. It's like, yeah, sure, that's true, but it's not very helpful. Or to lose weight, you just have to eat less calories than you burn. It's like, yes, that's true, but like, do you have any more advice? Like what else do you have for us? So I bring this all to say, I'm definitely still trying to find my way and figure out where I stand with everything. Quick update on myself, like I mentioned, still trying to work on my sleep. And I think after I lock in my sleep and get a good sleeping schedule, I'm going to try to do morning workouts and runs and lifts and stuff. Update on my people. I'm still calling the fam, or at least trying to, every day. And finally, update on my work. Still trying to figure out if I'm getting this offer and how to play my cards on that end. Because honestly, I think I decided that the best move for me would be to go all in on trying to find an offer, or at least lock in some type of offer that I could leverage in negotiations. Because honestly, I would be extremely surprised if I didn't get an offer from Leland, but we'll just see how that goes. And keep playing by ear. That part was from a couple weeks back. Now you're going to listen to the part that I recorded yesterday. This is the Popeyes chicken sandwich story. Here's how eating a Popeyes chicken sandwich actually made me healthier. Today, we had by Leland. Every Tuesday and Friday, they order food. Today's Friday, so they ordered some food. And today, it was a Popeyes chicken sandwich. And you know me, whenever there's free food around, bro, I just go crazy for it. Because it's free friggin' food. Like, who the heck doesn't like free food? Because food on its own, like, it can be good. But food, when it's free, it just, like, maximizes the flavor or something like that. It's just, like, free food is so good. And so, of course, with free food, I'm out here, grab the bag. It comes with sandwich and then there's some fries in there too. So of course, devour the sandwich. That thing is obliterated. And then it was time to munch on the fries. But of course you can't eat fries on its own, so gotta eat. And me being a big barbecue sauce guy, I drenched all the fries in barbecue sauce. I'm like, okay, it's time to eat these. And we're eating this as a company. This is the time for all of us to like get along and laugh and talk. And so I'm catching up with all my coworkers and we're talking this and that. And then as we're talking, one of my coworkers, she's like, hey, does anyone want to eat my fries? I don't really like fries. And she offers to me, I was like, nah, I'm good. I'll eat these fries because I already drenched my fries in barbecue sauce. So I was like, yeah, I'll just finish my fries. And then I realized I don't like fries. It's like, fries are good. I mean, sweet potato fries are pretty good. But, like, it's just not good. Like, I'd rather just not eat fries. Like, I just don't like them. And so here I am. I'm looking at this big old pile of fries drenched in barbecue sauce, and I'm like, well, I can't give it away, so I'm gonna have to eat it. Like, there's no other option. And as I say that out loud, my coworker, she's like, well, you don't have to eat it. And at that moment, my whole world exploded. It was like, wait, what? What do you mean I don't have to eat this? It was free food. I'm not gonna waste free food. I'm not gonna waste food. Like, what the heck? Because Polly's growing up, it is ingrained in us, in our soul, to not waste food. Whenever anyone wastes food, our parents are like, oh my goodness, why would you waste that? Like, so waste time. Give me that. Let me finish it if you're gonna just waste the food. Like, wasted food is a very, very bad thing. And on top of that, if you finish your food, everyone's like, oh, good job. You actually finished your food. That was a really, really good job. And you get this praise for finishing the food because finishing your food is a good thing. And I think moments like these have happened in the past, but today was like that big reminder in my head. I was like, oh, dang, you're right. I don't have to finish this food. Like, here I am stressing out about having to finish these fries because I'm over here thinking I have to finish the fries. Like, there's no other option. When really, there's this option that was there the whole time. I just didn't really recognize it. I didn't really look at it as a real option. And it was throwing the food away. So that was a really big frame shift that happened today. That was kind of small, but also kind of like really important, I think. But something else that happened today that I've been thinking about is at Leland, there's these two engineers that they stayed later than usual. Like everyone, they're usually out by 5. Actually, like probably normally 6 to 7. By 7, everyone's gone. But today, there's these two engineers who stayed late because they wanted to work on a project. It was a special project for Leland. But the thing about this project is that it wasn't super high priority that they would actually work on it in the working hours. Like, it wasn't so priority that we'd actually dedicate engineering talent and resource to this thing. But it was a feature that they wanted to do, and they wanted to finish this thing, so they just stayed late to finish it. But while working on this thing, we were catching up about how they were thinking through about this project, like what they were going to do with the naming of it, how it was going to be used in the future by future engineers, how it would impact the entire product and not just that specific feature. And one of the things they were really debating about was how they were going to go about building this feature that they wanted to do. Because there were kind of two routes they could take. Either one is the super quick, simple, dirty way, where it's like, okay, it gets it done in the short term, but in the long term, it might not be the best thing. Like, it's a pretty good temporary fix. But there was also the second option, which was like spend a ton of time, ton of energy on fixing this feature that honestly wasn't that important. But if they do that and spend all that time optimizing it, then it would be super good for the future and everything would be set. The issue with the first option that I thought was really interesting was that they could make this fix and it would be a small, simple, quick fix, but it would be temporary. And the thing about these temporary fixes that they were worried about was that it would be a temporary fix in the short term and it would just be good enough. And because it's just good enough, they keep building more and more on the top of the product that use this feature, but no one wants to go in and do a complete upgrade or overhaul of the feature because it's just good enough. And there was a quote, I'm not sure where he got it from, But one of the engineers said this thing, and it really just hit home for me. I was like, dang, that is wisdom right there. He says something along the lines of a temporary fix is the most permanent, or something like that. But it was along the lines of how temporary can sometimes have this permanent impact or this permanent consequence. And I think this really, really applies to life because there's so many things in life where things are just good enough. And because they're just good enough, we're just okay with it. It's like, okay, that's fine. Like, we can roll with that. But if it was any worse, then we'd actually dedicate some time to fixing that thing. A way this was put before in a Chris Williamson podcast was like, imagine a bus and you're trying to get to school. Actually, when I was a kid, I had this very same problem. As a kid, I lived about a mile or a little less than a mile from our school. And because of that, there was no bus to get to school. So instead, I had to walk all the way to school. But if I just lived a little bit further, like a 0.5 miles further, then the school would have been like, okay, it's time to put a bus route for this place. But because it was just close enough, we didn't need a bus route. We didn't need to drive. We could just walk. When really, it would be way easier, at least for me, if we could just drive. If I could just go to a bus. Because even though on the surface, it looks like there's more effort involved because you have to live further. There's this threshold that it meets where, okay, now we can do a bus route. Now we can catch the bus. And this engineering example fits super well with this idea because they didn't want to build something that was just a mile out. Because if it was a mile out, there wouldn't be a bus. But if they put the extra effort in to make it good and they move out, let's say 2 miles further, then the feature that they built could catch the bus. Hopefully that makes sense. I think in my head that makes sense. But a more concrete example that I'm dealing with right now would probably be my eating habits. That would probably be the best example because I don't track what I eat, like at all. I sort of just eat whatever I want, make sure there's protein in there, of course. But whenever there's free food, like today with the Popeyes sandwiches, I just devour it. And I eat seconds and thirds. Like today I had 3 Popeye sandwiches, bro. I would never eat 3 Popeye sandwiches if they weren't free. But my eating habits, they aren't so bad that it's like, oh my goodness, I have to go on this whole diet and track everything I eat. But it's just good enough. Like, it's just okay to where I'm not getting super, super fat because I lift and run and do all these things to try to be active. But it's not like really good either. It's the reason I don't have a 6-pack right now. But like, bro, if I had my plus running, plus lifting, plus eating, bro, like, it'll be wraps. It will be wraps. Like, that's all I can say. But because it's just good enough, I'm like, okay, it's not that deep. Like, it doesn't need any attention. But maybe as I'm saying this out loud, maybe I should catch the bus, you know? Actually put some time into thinking about what I eat. Because, man, I'd be a straight dog. There are probably some other things that I've been thinking about, but I guess now I will move into the life update. And instead of starting off with my God, then myself, then my people and my work, I think I'll just do it in the opposite way. But keep in mind, I still have the same priorities. So the life update, for those of you, I don't know, maybe it's your first time here. It is a quick update on the 4 things that matter to me most. First is my God, myself, my people, and then my work. But this time I'll do it in reverse order. So first thing, update on my work. The first thing is about this podcast. I can't lie, I have not been very consistent at all with this thing. So I'm happy that I remembered and actually did it this time as I'm driving from work, which just finished at 8:30-ish p.m. on a Friday night. Oh, probably finished at 9 because I'm about to get home at like 9:40. Freeg. Yeah, that's my life. I love the grind. But just doing a whole bunch of things there. Lately, I was pulled in to do some B2B outreach for partnerships. And so I've been spending a ton of time there. But also, I set this goal of wanting to build this AI sales agent. And I have not been putting much time into it. So I have started pouring some time into that, and we'll try to get that done over the weekend. That will be my top priority this weekend, is to get that done. Another thing that was super, super important today was my one-on-one with my manager. Because a couple days ago, I had this huge epiphany. And it was a big epiphany about my career, but especially future with Leland. Like, what are my prospects looking like? Basically, the epiphany was this. For a long time, and I think ever since I came to Leland, I kind of ruled out the idea of starting my own thing, of being a founder again. And it was because it was set in my mind, like, I have to go join a startup. And so in this negotiations with Leland, where usually they don't give return offers to interns early on, like they usually wait and try to push it out to as far in the future as possible. Because that's what's in the best interest of the company. Like, they would rather pay me intern wages than have to pay me a full friggin' salary and signing bonus and everything. And so that's the reason why I haven't been like super banking on the fact that I'll get a return offer, because they usually don't give return offers. But after talking with my manager a ton, I'm like, hey, what are we thinking about in terms of the offer, bro? And then he's been bugging our head of people, the HR guy, basically saying like, hey, let's get this fool an offer. He said that they're finally making some progress and hopefully we'll try to get everything wrapped up by the end of August. And so that, when I heard it, first of all, I was super happy that they're actually moving, but also like, I'm not sure if I would take it, even if they do end up offering me in August, because I think in my head, the only things that would like really make sense, I don't know. Like if they give me a fat salary and then on top of that, freak, I have no idea. Because there's two things I'm thinking about as I'm making this decision. The first thing, and I've been super set on this, is optimizing for learning, gaining new skills. Like that is the biggest thing. And as I've been here, I've gained a ton of new skills, but I've also like kind of in my head shut off the idea of starting my own thing to go and gain other skills. But I think that's something that I would want to do, or at least a possibility to kind of put some pressure on them to hurry up and give me this offer. But the other thing that I've been thinking about is surface area for luck. Because living in SF, the surface area for luck out there is just so massive. It's so huge. You can go out and meet so many cool people. Whereas in Utah, like it just doesn't have that same surface area for luck. Then my manager, I think it's interesting telling him everything that I'm thinking about, because I already know that his goal is just try to sell me on staying at Leland. And so everything I say is like an objection that comes up. And then he tries to handle the objection. He's like I remember at first I was like, yeah, I'm not sure if I want to stay in Utah. I kind of want to go and live in SF. And he's like, well, it's nice being a big fish in a small pond, because in SF, there's so many startups. It's like this Pacific Ocean of giant fish, and we're like this tiny little fish. Whereas out here in Utah, like we're a massive fish in this small little pond. And then he did a similar thing again, because I was like, yeah, like service area for luck out there in SF is just so massive. Like I can go and meet my co-founder, a random place, and go to all these events. He was like, well, you can do the same thing over here, because really the big thing that's important about those events and everything is the people. And in some ways, the people out here are even more closely connected because there's just so few. And we're in Utah, so it's like even more interconnected. Whereas in SF, there's like so many. That was another thing he said. I was like, okay, I'm not sure if I fully buy it, but maybe there's something there, and I just got to tap into the networks out here. Which kind of carries over to my update on my people, which is that honestly, yeah, I've not tapped into those networks, bro. Like, free. I just gotta find those people. But the thing is, I have no idea how to find those people. Because myself, like, I don't know, I like to grind. Where do I find other people grinding? Freak. Maybe on LinkedIn? Yeah, maybe on LinkedIn. That's another thing. Quick note, I just did like a random LinkedIn post and that thing's popping off. It's about Diet Coke. So it's a big dub for the LinkedIn comp at Leland. But anyways, oh yeah, and then the other thing, update on my people, planning to do some country dancing
with coworkers. That should be interesting. I realized today that one of my coworkers that honestly when I first met him I was like yeah, he seems pretty chill, like nothing too special. But after working more and more with him, bro, he's freaking hilarious. Mans is actually so funny. But yeah, we'll see if I have any ideas on finding anything. Oh yeah, and then I forgot to say this for the update on my work, is that I think this weekend there'll be two priorities. First is a sales agent. That's a priority number one. And then second priority is actually going hard on recruiting, because I think if I can start the process now and hopefully try to get some type of offer that I can leverage in negotiations, or I don't know, even if nothing pans out, I'm gonna just like say, look, if I don't have an offer by the end of August, like I'm leaving. I'm not staying. It's not to say I'm leaving forever or like I will never come back. It's just to say that when I go back to school, I want to know for sure what I'm going to grind on. I want to know for sure what I'm going to focus on. And it's going to be one of two things. Either it's going to be Leland and I'm pouring all my effort and energy into Leland, or it's not going to be. Like, it's going to be one or the other. And if it's Leland stuff, then great. And if it's not, then great. Then I'm going to focus on myself and invest in myself. But that's probably the biggies. And then update on myself. The big thing is that I ran a half marathon yesterday. So that was a big dub actually, because it was downhill. If it wasn't downhill, I think I would have died. They would have passed out, bro. The day before, I tried running a mile. I was actually trying to run that mile at a pretty decent pace with a good heart rate. Bro, that was 12 minutes. I had a 12-minute pace on that mile, and it was all flat, no uphill at all. So I did that the day before thinking, man, I am cooked for tomorrow. Like, yeah, and I really have not been training a lot for it. And the other thing is that I barely got any sleep. So I should probably paint this picture for you. As I wake up for this race, it is at 4 in the morning. I wake up at 4 in the morning because the race is at 6 and I have to do all these things. So I wake up at 4 and I go and check my phone. I realize it's at 20% because I forgot to charge it. On top of that, I have a huge headache because I only got like 5 hours of sleep. It's like, dang, I am cooked. So I didn't train enough, didn't get enough sleep, had a huge headache, forgot to charge my phone. It was at 20%. So I'm over here thinking, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to listen to a podcast or music or nothing because my phone is about to freaking die. And I have to use it for directions to try to get to this place and all these things. And so I get ready, like 10, 15 minutes, hop in the car, and we start heading out. And while I'm heading out, I have to charge my phone because I got to gain as much battery as possible. So I get to the place that we're supposed to meet at, that we're supposed to park. And this is the Utah Utes, the U of U stadium. So we get over there, find parking. And the only thing is that instead of taking 20 minutes, which is what Google Maps told me, it took like 40 minutes to 50 because of how long it took to park. There was this huge, massive line of everyone else that was doing this half marathon. And so it turned this 20-minute drive into a 40-minute, 50-minute road trip. And so I finally parked at 5 in the morning. The only issue is that in the email that they sent us before the race with all the logistics, it said that the last shuttle bus leaves at 4:55. So to explain this a little further, the whole idea is that they meet up at this stadium and then we all hop on these buses and that bus will take us to the start line, because the start line is like somewhere like in the valley, in the mountains or whatever, because the entire half marathon is all downhill. So we have to go up there like at this high point and then we'll run downhill the rest of the way to get into the heart of the city. So I'm over here freaking out that this parking is taking forever and I'm 5 minutes late, but I'm banking on the fact that there are other people who are going to be late, and it's like, oh yeah, even though I'm late, like, oh, there will be another bus that'll get us there. And so big dub, I was able to hop on that bus and head to the start line and then actually do the race. And then as I was doing the race, I got huge foot blisters. I think by mile 5, I started feeling it. By mile 7, 8, yeah, I was really, really feeling it. But through it all, pushed through, and had a really good pace actually. Like a really, really good pace. It was 10:50. And it was 10:50 because we had downhill the whole time. Which honestly, bro, running downhill, oh my goodness, it makes life so much easier. So I was able to finish the race, finished at 8:30 in the morning, and then I headed to work right after that. So I got to work at like 10-ish because I had to shower and everything. But I showered at work because we have a shower in the first floor. But that was like crazy to me. It was like did this half marathon, came back, and I got to work at like 10 in the morning. The whole like pretty normal time to get to work. And then the crazy part is that today I found out my manager, bro, man's ran 20 miles this morning. I thought I was a dog. I was running a half marathon, 6 in the morning, like came into work. My manager ran 20 miles at 4 in the morning and came in to work like, oh yeah, it was no big deal. I was like, what the heck, bro? I just thought that was funny. But this whole running thing, man, it's been good for the mental health. And there's times where I catch myself where I'm like about to binge a new anime or whatever, or like binge YouTube. And I just remember my goals. And I look down at this necklace that I just got. And on the back of the necklace, it says Sisu. And it just reminds me of my dream self. Now, that's not to say that I'm perfect all the time. Last night even, I stayed up super late. It's not going to sound super late, but it was super late. It was like 11, 12. I was like, dang. I was watching YouTube or whatever. So we all fall short. I am no different. It has helped, I think, to really think about my goals and like, oh, what am I going to do tomorrow? Am I going to run? Am I going to lift? Well, what do I want to build? What do I want to accomplish? Like, when I remember my goals and what I want to do in the future, then it helps me to like not get bogged down or get distracted with random things right now in the present. So I think that's been kind of helpful. And finally, update on my God. I will say I've been more consistent with reading the Bible. Prayer is still off and on. I've done it a couple times this week. And so still trying to find that routine, find that groove, and figure out where I stand in all of this. Really important question. Like, it's a really, really important question of who is Jesus. But honestly, where I'm at is like, where's his true church, bruh? Trying to find my guy. But anyways, that is the full episode. But I'll catch y'all later.
I record these episodes completely free to share success with everyone. So the only thing I ask is that if you learned anything or found something interesting in this episode, just leave a review and share it with a friend. Only takes 5 seconds and it would mean the world. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Tatok, see you.